An old woman was washing clothes by the river when she suddenly noticed a child being swept toward her by the strong current. She immediately jumped into the water and grabbed the boy. Then she looked around everywhere, but there was no sign of his parents anywhere. So the old woman decided to adopt the child as her own. In truth, this child had been born with a special power. As he grew older, his strength became even greater. One day, the old woman ran out of firewood and said to the boy, "Son, go to the forest and bring back some wood." The boy went into the forest and quickly cut down a huge pile of wood. Then he tied it together so tightly that it became a tiny bundle. Carrying it easily, he returned home. But the moment the old woman untied the rope, bam, all the logs exploded across the yard. In this way, the boy spent his life serving the old woman with all his heart. But one day, the old woman suddenly passed away. The boy cried and mourned for 3 days straight. Then he remembered something the old woman had once told him. "I am not your real mother. I found you in the river. Your true mother is a white dragon who lives in the high mountains north of the village." Remembering her words, the boy set out toward the north in search of his real mother. After traveling for many days, he finally reached a small mountain peak. Looking down from there, he saw a tiny village surrounded by mountains on all sides. He wondered, why would there be a village in such a lonely place? When he went down, he discovered that the villagers farmed rice fields, but the river water had been blocked by the mountains. Because of this, the fields had dried up, and the villagers barely had enough food to survive. At that moment, the boy decided, "I will solve this village's water problem." He quickly ran to the lake where the water came from and shouted loudly, "Mother, white dragon mother." As soon as he called out for the third time, the lake began to shake. A massive wave rose into the air, and from within it emerged a woman dressed in white. The boy could only stare at her in shock. The woman walked across the water toward him and said, "From today on, you are my son." Tears filled the boy's eyes. After 20 long years, he had finally met his real mother. But before he could fully understand what was happening, the woman suddenly jumped into the lake and transformed into a dragon. Yet she was not white, she was a green dragon. She already knew that her son wanted to remove the mountain blocking the river so the water could reach the village. The dragon placed the boy on her back and flew high into the sky toward the mountain that blocked the water's path. With all her strength, the dragon slammed into the mountain. After the first strike, cracks spread across the mountain. After the second strike, huge rocks began to shatter. And after the third strike, the entire mountain trembled violently. At the same time, heavy rain began pouring from the sky. Then the dragon delivered one final, powerful blow. The mountain completely collapsed, and the water that had been trapped above rushed down into the village, flowing through every field. From that day on,